In this cinematic, what you're seeing, in my opinion, so we don't really know guaranteed what it is. It's just Aatrox fighting a bunch of people. What I think this is when Aatrox was pushing barbarians into Targon. And so Aatrox doesn't like the aspects, obviously. The aspects are the ones that taught the mortals how to imprison them in their weapons. Not great for the Darkin. Aatrox, in order to like kind of get back, and he wants to battle the aspects at Targon, starts pushing barbarians into Targonian lands. Basically, imagine, you know, all these barbarians and Aatrox basically saying, push into Targon or I'm going to kill you all. That's how he does it. And what happens, who eventually comes in contact with Aatrox during this time, during this war where Aatrox is pushing barbarians into Targon, is Pantheon. And that's what we're seeing here. This is the LCS 2015 login screen. You can see Pantheon. I really feel like this is Aatrox. Like an artistic version of him, but Aatrox nonetheless. Anyways, Aatrox pushing barbarians into Targon. Pantheon comes down, and this is not the Pantheon that we see in game today, guys. This is the Pantheon, the aspect of war, the actual Pantheon. He is kind of an ass, honestly. He takes over Pantheon, the character, the actual character you play in the game, his name's Atreus, and Pantheon, the god of war, takes over his body, basically calling him weak, like, you're just a mortal, I'm more powerful than you, I'm gonna do whatever I want. There's a lot that goes on with the aspects, some shady stuff. But yeah, he takes over Atreus's body, and then Atreus is just kind of like, you guys ever see that movie where like, and I don't remember what it's called, but anyways, he's in the back of his mind, just like tucked away back there, can't do anything. And Pantheon goes on to fight Aatrox, and actually loses. Literally, Aatrox hits Pantheon so hard, it carves the Pantheon's constellation from the sky. And surprisingly, well, when the aspect of war dies, which I don't actually think he's dead, I can get into that if you guys want, but Atreus literally survives. Atreus survives this battle, and then all that's left is Atreus. And so what does Aatrox do, looking at like this man now hobbling together, trying to get up? Laughs at him, and Atreus literally spits in his face. Now there is that one cinematic, I always forget the name, where you see like Atreus fighting Leona and stuff. That's after he's become, like, he reignites the power of the aspect of war, even though the aspect of war is no longer within him. That's the Pantheon that you're playing in game today. Not the aspect of war Pantheon, but the man who's like reignited his ability to like use Pantheon's power. Then we get the Still Here cinematic, and there's a lot in this cinematic that's really important for Aatrox. So I'm just going to play this. So here you can see Tryndamere fighting, and there's a reason Tryndamere can't die, and it has absolutely everything to do with Aatrox. So, and here you see Demacia, and you can see Leona and Kayle here fighting to defend Demacia, which they are the protectors of Demacia in a lot of ways. They fought to protect Demacia a long time ago. And this is back when, if you notice, they both have a sword. So if we fast forward a little bit, there, you can see Kayle has a sword, and Morgana has a sword. These were two halves of their mother's sword, who is the aspect of justice, which I don't want to get into too much. I can talk for an hour about Kayle and Morgana and how they're two halves of a whole that make up justice. But yeah, they each have a half of their mother's sword. In game today, the god died, the man lives. Yes, Red. And so in game today, Kayle has both of their swords, but I'm not going to get into that right now. You can see that they are defending Demacia from Aatrox. Aatrox is attacking Demacia here. Aatrox really just wants to destroy all of Demacia, all of Runeterra. That's his goal, is to end existence. And we'll get into why in a little bit. So you can see them fighting Aatrox. And this isn't Aatrox as he was before they were entrapped. This is Aatrox after. He's already been entrapped in their weapon. This is a mortal who's picked up Aatrox's weapon and is now basically possessed by them. And every possession is a little different. In Aatrox's case, he completely dominates the mortal's form, which is why he literally resembles so much his original Darkin form. You can see some Darkin, if you go to like Varus, for example, he's not in that same sense. Like if you go to Varus, Darkin. Look at Varus. Varus is basically almost looks more like a man than a Darkin, right? He's like half and half, split up, Darkin here, Darkin here. And so the Darkin is different, but with Aatrox, he literally dominates their form and takes them over completely. And that's part of the problem for Aatrox, as we see. So yeah, you can see Aatrox fighting, and then he gets, and you can see what happens here at the end of this. Kayle throws down this ability, and you can see there, Aatrox loses his weapon, and that's what happens. So the man returns, and he's definitely dead. Aatrox's host always dies because of how much he dominates their form. We could skip the Yasuo stuff because it's a future event. That doesn't actually happen. Now, what's happening here is Tryndamere is losing, and any normal man would have died here. The difference between Tryndamere and a normal man is that Tryndamere is empowered by Aatrox. And the reason for this we can see in League of Legends voice lines. So you can see literally this is the Lamb and the Wolf. The Lamb and the Wolf are death gods of Runeterra. Anytime someone's about to die, they come and they give them a choice. You can either fight the wolf or go peacefully with the lamb. So Tryndamere is choosing to fight the wolf. Also Nefiri, she is a dog now, and the chicken Darkin also, but Aatrox always the same. Yeah, so Nefiri's a dog Darkin, you're right. She's split between multiple dogs, and we can talk about her as well. You can see Tryndamere here fighting, and for some reason, they cannot kill Tryndamere. Like, this fight shouldn't be lasting this long. You can see the red in his eyes right here. That's from Aatrox. That's Aatrox's blood magic within Tryndamere, and that's why he can't die. And the lamb, you ever see this part? I think the lamb looks at him confused, like she's intrigued by Tryndamere. Why isn't he dead yet? Because he definitely should, and you can see his eyes burning red here. He's literally fighting off the wolf. It's supposed to be a choice. By the time you see the lamb and the wolf, you are dead. It's just a choice. Do you want to fight the wolf, or do you want to go peacefully with the lamb? And this guy, at this point, has literally fought off the lamb and the wolf. And then he gets saved by Ashe, although that's not why he survived. Now, if we go to Aatrox League of Legends voice lines, look at this. Look at this. So we got to find Tryndamere. Look at this.
Yes, Tryndamere. I am the cause of your suffering. See if you can cut justice from me.
Tryndamere and Aatrox don't like each other at all. Now, so why is that? Why is Aatrox this problem for Tryndamere? So Tryndamere was born into a formidable warrior clan. I think I can pull up Tryndamere. Let me talk to you guys a little bit about Tryndamere, and then you'll understand what happened with him and Aatrox. Where's Tryndamere at? There we go. Let's talk Tryndamere for a little bit. So Tryndamere was born into a formidable warrior clan in the harsh, frozen land of the Freljord. His life is shattered when a mysterious horned figure wielding a living sword appears one night and slaughters his entire clan. Tryndamere fights back, but is easily defeated and left for dead. He survives not by luck, but by being revived by an all-consuming rage that gives him unnatural healing abilities. Now driven by a burning desire for vengeance, he must first ensure the safety of his clan's few survivors. He leads them to the Avarosans, a growing tribe led by Ashe, to prove his worth. Tryndamere challenges their warriors, but his singular fury and strange powers make the Avarosans fearful and suspicious. So I'm going to stop there with Tryndamere's lore, because that's all you really need to know. The main thing is that Tryndamere was born into some Freljord clan that gets attacked by some horned god. A lot of them think it's the boar. So Freljord boar god. I always forget the name of this one. Yeah, so a lot of them think that it's this guy, the Freljord boar god, whatever his name is. In the Wrath of the Freljord card for Legends of Runeterra. But it actually is Aatrox. What's Aatrox doing attacking some random Freljord group like some random tribe? The answer is, where is he? So, some more lines.
Right? You are just flesh, Tryndamere, ready for harvesting.
Ready for harvesting, that's interesting.
I wait for you, Tryndamere. Come, take your vengeance.
Very interesting. Look at this.
I killed your tribe. Now, join them. Tryndamere, this is your destiny.
He literally killed their tribe. Here we go.
I taught you my next vessel, Tryndamere. Pity. You failed even to become a slave.
So Aatrox attacks the Freljord Iron Boar. Yes, that's what it was. Thank you, Radu. Iron Boar. That's what they thought Tryndamere was, or Aatrox was, when he first came. And a lot of actually Tryndamere's tribe started worshiping him until he started slaughtering them, and they're like, oh, well, that's not the Iron Boar. But Tryndamere he lets live and empowers him. The reason Aatrox did this is because he wants Tryndamere to be his next vessel. And because the way Aatrox overpowers his vessels, it's almost like a war of attrition. Eventually, whether Kayn and Morgana defeated Aatrox there or not, Aatrox's body eventually disintegrates, the host disintegrates, and then Aatrox needs to find a new host. So it's like he's trying to build up something that will be able to contain his power. What's good about Tryndamere now is that Tryndamere can't die. That's a pretty powerful vessel for Aatrox. Think about it. If he possesses Tryndamere, Tryndamere can't die. Perhaps now he'll have the vessel that he's been looking for. So if Aatrox eventually gets a hold of Tryndamere, which I think we might see in the Riot MMO, I can imagine that being an awesome story to explore. That's going to be really interesting because Tryndamere is kind of like an ally to us. I can see Tryndamere being an ally to us, especially because he's related to the CEO of Riot Games. So I could see him being a good character in the Riot MMO and kind of being an ally, but his story is going to play out with Aatrox for sure. So that's one reason why people believe that Aatrox is the most powerful Darkin. Not the reason I believe Aatrox is the most powerful Darkin, because he's not. In my opinion, there's someone else. And it's not this next character either, but a lot of people do think, who really know the lore, think that Zolaani is the most powerful Darkin. And we're going to start going through the Darkin faster now, because at this point you understand who the Darkin are. It's time to start understanding like the different Darkin and why people believe that they're the strongest, even though I don't think either Aatrox or Zolaani are the most powerful. Let me close out a couple of these tabs because it's starting to get a lot. Look at that. Look how much lore we already went through. Look at that. Okay. In order to understand Zolaani, we got to understand a little bit of June. We got to get Zolaani evolved. And we're also going to need... I'm not going to do that, actually. Okay. So Zolaani was trapped, and everyone got... I remember every Darkin got trapped in their weapons. Zolaani specifically was trapped in this weapon, the Iron Bloodletters. Zolaani was trapped in her Darkin Bloodletters and sent to Ionia. And you could see what happens with Zolaani in her card art. So where is it? The Darkin Bloodletters, the momentous choice. What happens with Zolaani is Kayn, which we can pull up Kayn for a bit. Where's Kayn at? Kayn has another Darkin weapon in his hand, the Darkin Scythe, Rhaast. But he's eventually pushed to attack the temple that's holding Zolaani. And Zolaani was being protected by the Wuju masters, such as... Where's Master Yi? There he is. So Zolaani was being protected by Master Yi. They were like guarding the temple. And as the fighting raged on, June, desperate and badly wounded, tuned to the voice whispering in her thoughts. "You will never die," it said, soft as summer rain, "because I will never let you." So while this fighting is going on, June decides to take up the Bloodletters, which wasn't smart. But eventually, the second she takes up the Bloodletters, Shurima's Ascended were doomed. This talks about like Shurima and her fighting Aatrox. But regardless, the moment June takes up the Bloodletters, I think there's a card called the Momentous Choice. I don't remember. But there's a card titled Mistress, I think, where June is taking up the Bloodletters. And you can see this is the result. And so this card reads, Shurima's Ascended were doomed. They took up arms against the void. This was an enemy that could never be beaten. And while the God Warriors were all but... Man, I need to zoom in. This is so small. While the God Warriors were all but guaranteed immortality, their minds were never as resilient. Madness consumed them all. Zolaani, once the beloved and gifted healer, began using her hemomantic powers to control her brethren. And soon enough, the hatred between her and Aatrox boiled over into a civil war. So that's really where I'm getting all like the civil war stuff and everything. And so this is what happens should June be taken over by Zolaani picking up the Bloodletters. The reason people think Zolaani is so powerful is that a lot of Darkin, she was really the only one that was powerful enough to go up against Aatrox. Where is it? And she's able to literally possess Darkin, which is a pretty cool power. Where is this one card? And she still has Darkin under her control. I think it's Iberos, right? He'd be at the top. Yeah, Iberos. I love Iberos. Is such a cool character. I think we'll see him in the Riot MMO for sure. He has like this cool rhyme as well. So where Iberos was located when the Shuriman ascended through all the Darkin weapons was Bilgewater. And it reads, steer clear of the Strait of Jeray, where the waters whisper and the winds betray, where sea beasts and birds so seldom foray for fear of the darkness deep neath the Strait of Duray. And you could see the Darkin harpoon right there. And he was basically picked up by a sea monster. Eberrost Tebnizunes lifted himself through the water. His blood coursed with the same familiar yearning from years before, to serve, to obey, to submit. And so Eberrost is one of those Darkin that is literally controlled by Zolaani, even after he comes back to life. So I always thought that was pretty cool. So not all the Darkin are loyal to the general still. There is some Darkin that are still under the control of Zolaani. And so that's why a lot of people think Zolaani maybe is the most powerful Darkin. There's a lot of her story that continues on with the Altar of Blood, but I don't want to get into that. Then there's a ton of Darkin. If someone wants to like announce a sleeper pick for Darkin and be like, I really know my lore, they'll say like Belcox because he has Bandle magic. Eberrost fused with the sea monster. I don't think you could say that he's the most powerful Darkin. Jarrell is impervious to attack. He's pretty cool. He's right here. These are all Darkin. Harazi was imprisoned in Star Metal. Where's she at? Yeah. Harazi was literally imprisoned in Star Metal and glimpsed the secret of the cosmos. All of these Darkin people may claim are the most powerful Darkin. I disagree with all of them. I actually think the most powerful character, the most powerful Darkin out of all Darkin, where is he at? He's kind of playable, but not really 100% playable. Maybe you guys know who I'm talking about. There he is. I believe that the most powerful Darkin is not Aatrox, who barks the loudest, is not Zolaani, who has the pneumatic powers, but really in one-on-one battle is not the most powerful. I actually think it's Kayn. So let's pull this up. Let's pull up the Kayn stuff. Kayn. And I'll explain to you why I think Rhaast, the one who's in the scythe with Kayn, is the most powerful Darkin. So let's go through this story a little bit. The Blade of Millennia. So in this short story, Shadiah Kayn, a highly skilled member of the Order of Shadow, is sent by his master Zed on a crucial mission into an enemy territory of Noxus. His objective is to retrieve a powerful, malevolent ancient weapon, a sentient Darkin scythe that consumes anyone unworthy of wielding it. Yeah, Rhaast, I'm telling you, look, hear me out, Radu. I'm telling you, Rhaast is the most powerful Darkin, people just don't know it. Kayn ambushes the Noxian caravan transporting the weapon, but it is unexpectedly followed by a jealous fellow acolyte, Nakuri, who complicates the mission. During the ensuing battle, a desperate Noxian soldier unleashes the scythe, which possesses him and causes him to attack his own comrades before his body is destroyed by its power. After the fight against Nakuru's warnings to destroy the dangerous weapon, Kayn is tempted by the scythe's voice, which asks, who will prove worthy? Believing it's his destiny, Kayn claims the scythe for himself. The story ends with him wielding the sentient blade, feeling an immediate connection to it, and pointing it as his brother. Nakuri, ready for the final confrontation, and pointing at his brother. He pointed the scythe, I want to make that sure that's clear. He pointed the scythe at his brother, Nakuri, and said, ready for the final confrontation. We have the potential to grow, but now I guess he is the weakest. No, Radu, everyone keeps saying this. I'm telling you, he is the most powerful Darkin by a lot, and I'll explain to you why right now. Rhaast is playing a long game. Let me pull up Kayn Legends of Runeterra. Everyone keeps saying he's the weakest because they think Kayn is overpowering him. It's not the case. I really feel like he's playing with Kayn, just messing with him. If Rhaast wanted to, he could completely dominate Kayn the same way Aatrox does, or half dominate, like almost overpower the way Zolaani does with June. But Kayn's playing a long game. I want to read through the art really quick. Let me pull this up here, and I'll pull up his art over here so you guys can see the art that I'm talking about. Okay, so what's happening here is Kayn is attacking the Wuju temple. If you remember, I was talking about Master Yi and the Wuju. They were protecting the blood letters of Zolaani. Now, the blood letters contain Zolaani's essence, and Kayn was convinced by Rhaast to go and obtain the blood letters, to obtain a second Darkin weapon. It's a twist plot. Radu, you're gonna see. I'm gonna make everyone believe. I know that Rhaast is the most powerful Darkin weapon. As another body fell, so this is Kayn actually at the temple. You can see he's fighting the students of Master Yi. As another body fell, Kayn let out a gleeful laugh, knowing that he would soon unleash a second Darkin weapon that lay below. Within him, Rhaast's anticipation grew, knowing that Kayn's undoing was finally near. So why would unleashing a second Darkin weapon help Rhaast with Kayn? And what does it mean, right? So let's keep going on to the next card. It's telling a story, guys. This next card here. A fierce and sudden flash of anger overwhelmed Kayn, and a terrible searing pain passed behind his eyes, bringing him to his knees. Rhaast's triumphant laughter echoed all around him, mocking and merciless. He had known this day would come, the day he would finally prevail or lose himself to the Darkin. So he's fighting the Darkin right now. And he, by the way, look at the Darkin scythe. It's literally like a scythe. What do they use a scythe for? Reaping, like, you know, you let the crop grow and then you reap. That's what a scythe is. And that's exactly what Rhaast is doing with Kayn. So this is him battling Master Yi, which is insane, by the way. Master Yi is one of the most powerful characters in all of Runeterra. So tremendous power flowed through his veins. Freed from the Darkin's influence, the full power of the shadows was his to command. Kayn laughed, slipping into darkness and emerging a moment later, only to silently slit the throat of the guard before him. So this is if Kayn wins. Kayn will become like this shadow assassin and being able to fully control Rhaast. That's not what's going to happen, though. And you can see this card. This is another card. This is the Shadow Scythe. So Kayn's anger grew into a fearsome blaze amidst Rhaast's focused screams. The Darkin's hold on the Shadow Warrior burned away, and when Kayn rose to his feet, he knew the full power of the Darkin was his to command. This is not the case. This is like hypothetical. I'm telling you guys, this isn't what happens at all. This is just like, oh yeah, if somehow Kayn overpowers Rhaast, this is what really happens. And this is the card showing, in my opinion, the true future of Rhaast overpowering not only Kayn, but Zolaani in a lot of ways. Rhaast let out a triumphant howl, years of waiting, yearning, and now he was finally free. He lifted Zolaani's blade and put them to his tongue, savoring the taste of fresh blood. He closed his eyes in bliss, and a smile crept across his face. For the first time in millennia, the reaping had begun. Guys, right there, years of waiting. Rhaast has been playing this out the whole time, and look what he's doing. One, he's in a full Rhaast form. He's not like half Zolaani, half Rhaast. There's no Kayn left, and yet he's wielding Zolaani's blade and the taste of fresh blood on his tongue. I think what's happening here is that Rhaast may have the ability to take Darkin's powers, and that Rhaast literally played the long game with Kayn. Think about it. He was literally like waiting for someone strong enough. It's almost like he set a threshold on his weapon that if anyone can pass this threshold, then he'll let them wield him for a while until he eventually dominates them. Aatrox, right when someone picks up his weapon, boom, he dominates them, and the body begins to disintegrate and like wither away and become unstable, and eventually Aatrox needs to find a new vessel. Compared to Rhaast, who's literally building the perfect vessel in Kayn, like slowly corrupting him. Rhaast is playing the long game, long-term investment, and he's literally able to wield a second Darkin weapon, and Zolaani's power is very, very strong. And now I understand the story. I love the splash arts. Yeah, they're great. Legends of Runeterra is a great game. Okay, so now you guys understand why I think Rhaast is the most powerful Darkin. It's not Aatrox, which a lot of people do believe. It's not Zolaani, okay? It's this guy right here. It's Rhaast. And Kayn is the perfect, like, mentality kind of person who, you know, believes himself able to wield a Darkin weapon, he's like, even says things like, it's just a tool, and I think he's like blissfully unaware of just how in danger he really is and how powerful Rhaast is. I think Rhaast is going to dominate Kayn eventually, and if he gets Zolaani's weapon too, if he's able to actually wield another Darkin's power, that's insane, and I really feel like that's the potential story right there. So yeah, that's the most powerful Darkin. Not Aatrox, not Zolaani, it's Rhaast.